Welcome back to the Fantasy Waiver Wire. This is your boy Tubby. With me, as always, is Lee.
That's me.
And we got a doozy. We got us a doozy. You know, you would think it was scripted, but it's not scripted. I'm gonna just show you better than I can tell you. But in our league, the Big Baller Bros, this is your championship game right here. Your boy Lord Vader. Lord Vader. And I've been putting some of that Vader spell on some of these injuries leading up to this game. That's that dark side. Against Hurts when I pee.
How does that happen?
I don't mean to bring you in. I don't mean to bring you in like that, you know, but this is going to be a doozy. This is going to be a doozy. What's up, Lee?
Cheers. You know, who would have thought? When we did the Eagles podcast last year and they went all the way to the Super Bowl. And then this year it's, you know, we switched gears to go to a fantasy football oriented podcast. And this is the first time I've been in the championship in your league. So it's crazy that it's against you and it's this season that we've been doing this podcast that ended up working out. But yeah, what a great pair of wins this past weekend. And you know, we're making the right moves with the players. We've got the right rosters. I mean, we took on the two best players in the league this weekend and ended up getting to the finals. So that's how it works. So congrats to you, man. And I'm looking forward to a great finals matchup against my best bud, man. This is great.
I would be remiss if I didn't say that I got lucky in a couple ways. I mean, who would have thought that George Pickens was going to go off? Excuse me, like that. 35 piece from George Pickens out of nowhere. I mean, I don't know what made me start him. I just, you know, I was like, I got to take some more risk. And it was probably the best move I could have made of the weekend because Mahomes stalled on me. I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up before we get into our game. Let's talk about how we got here, I suppose. Yeah.
And we see your question there, Tilly. We will get to you in just a second. We will definitely help you out. We're just going to recap how we got to the finals this week.
Yeah. So play Gustavo's rad team. Long story short, Trevor Lawrence being out, being hurt. Even though it was the fourth quarter, he wasn't looking good anyway. Man, a surprise game from Diggs. Not necessarily a surprise game from Hopkins, but man, and then Barkley had a solid game against the Eagles, which I'm not surprised. Got lucky with Pacheco going out with a concussion injury, and he gets pretty much nothing except for kicker getting 9 is huge. But what I dodged the most is Michael Pittman and Keenan Allen. That's what I was thankful for Christmas. Dodging those two. I mean, it's huge. And then Mahomes thinks it up. This was the play of the week, for me. Putting George Pickens in there was just huge. Crazy. Sitting Zeke, I went against my better judgment. Went ahead and sat Zeke. And I went ahead and put in Seattle over Miami's defense. And it got me 3.5 more points. But really the injuries tell the story of really how I won, man. I'm just glad I didn't absolutely shit the bed, with my team. That would have been even, which I thought could have happened with Mahomes. He had negative points at halftime. I was like, wow. So, yeah, man, that was my recap. And I'll bring up yours. You were going up against Chirac Soldiers, the 2nd seed.
Yep. It was crazy. They because again, I'm taking a chance on Baker Mayfield. I've lost Kirk Cousins and Justin Herbert. So this was, me taking a chance on him. And again, they had their projection at 22. I thought that was bogus. I said that last week. I'm like, there's no way that he's just going to do 22 points, especially against Jacksonville, who has a weaker pass D. And he went off. I mean, that was key because it kept pace with Josh Allen. And then if you just go down the line, it's like our players were matched up pretty evenly. He got 14 with AJ. I got Ayuk, got me 17, even against that tough game that the Niners had against Baltimore. McCaffrey pulls out 25 and Ayuk gets 17, even in that tough game. Olave pulls me down 23 and he's banged up. Evans gets his 27, but then like Kamara only gets him 8. That hurt. Chandler only got him 7. Yet I had Aaron Jones again. It's kind of funny that trade I made for Pollard. It ended up being beneficial to me because Jones comes back at the right time and drops 14 points for me. The toughest one was Laporta, but he's going to have ups and downs. It wasn't a great game for him against Minnesota. We hope that he bounces back this week. And of course, I had a really good game going with Hawkinson, and then he got taken out, got injured in that game. And I
both
was
get tight ends in that game.
Yeah, I decided to go with the tight end flex. I mean, how can you not?
They were facing each other as well, like in
Exactly.
Detroit versus Minnesota. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was keeping an eye on that. And it was like I had some flex players I could go with, but I went with the 2 tight ends because we're in a PPR league. So you want that volume of catches. So yeah, I mean, I didn't use Montgomery. I could have. Montgomery had around 14 points, so it could have hurt me. But I benched him. I didn't use DeAndre Swift, which could have hurt me. And he did. Yeah, if you look at the bench, I had some points that I left out there. 15 for DeAndre, 14 for Montgomery. And that was about it. I mean, Browning only had 25 at quarterback, so I made the right move there. It was really just who that flex was going to be. And I went with Hawkinson, and I think Hawkinson could have easily put up 15 had he not gotten hurt in that game. So I think I made the right choice, but I did dodge a bullet. Of course, Tucker giving me 16 points with the Ravens in that 49er game didn't hurt at all. And then Chicago's defense just average, but it doesn't really matter. The big key is that his big guns, his tight end, only 8 points. DJ Moore, who had been putting up 20 to 30 points a game, did not come through. So that helped me out because I didn't score a ton of points. I think I was second in the highest in the league this week. So 160 is nothing to sneeze at. But it definitely could have gone worse. But I'm glad we're here. We see I had 160, and I think Marine Raiders, who I beat the week before, had 189. So yeah. Wasn't bad. I'm looking forward to this week playing my boy. And let's see how it goes, man. It's gonna be awesome.
I would have only beat 2 other people, and I played one of them. I mean, just...
Oh, I know. You're right there. You just made it. You just squeaked in.
Remember we talked about that one point in with David Achane?
Yeah.
Achane. This you could say that because I would be in a different spot, so I wouldn't have played Gustavo, the ghost of Achane. Lives in that game. So unbelievable, man. I couldn't believe I was scheduled to have the most points at one point.
Yeah.
When Pickens went crazy, and then Jokic and Njoku did a good job. So yeah, man, it is gonna be fun, man. I told Ish, I was like, this is crazy that I'm playing league right after we just went commentary the Super Bowl. So yeah, like I said, man, it's gonna be awesome, man. I still want to win. But
oh yeah, me too.
Break a leg.
I know. We're just how it goes. All you gotta do is sit and watch now. The lineups are going to be set soon. I already looked at my lineup. I really can't say that I'm going to change anything. So, I am putting in Swift as the backup running back, and I'm throwing Jones in the flex. Right now, I'm keeping an eye on him because he's questionable. He's limited in practice this week. So that's the one thing I'm worried about.
You want to hear something crazy? I was thinking about going Singletary for Njoku, but I'm sorry for Njoku and then go Njoku for Kelsey, man. But I wouldn't live with myself if Kelsey goes crazy. I'm just hoping you got the desperate Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs are desperate. You have a pissed off Travis Kelsey, broke his helmet last game. So I just hope I can get something out of that. And Njoku, man, hasn't had less than like 9 targets in the last 3. So it's just hard. I do have a little apprehension about Flacco coming off of a short week, being old. I don't know how sharp he's going to be. So, but if Amari Cooper doesn't play due to that heel injury, I expect a lot of the catches to go.
And that is tonight.
To Njoku. So that's my only decision I have to make tonight, and I'm going with Njoku. So here we go.
Yeah. All right. You got to play him tonight because it's Thursday night football, so you can't wait on it. We got our first question. This is from Tille. I hope I'm saying that right on Twitch. He is in the championship as well, so congrats on that. I hope maybe we helped you out a little bit. Russ is being sat. That screws a lot of people that were using Russ as their starter, but there's bad blood going on in Denver. So yeah, he is being sat. So his choices are he needs 2. So he's got 2 quarterbacks starting. Stidham, Flacco, Taylor, who is now starting for the Giants, or Jake Browning at Cincinnati. That's slim pickings, I will say that, as far as your quarterbacks go. Flacco and Browning have been outstanding, but they both have, I think, difficult matchups this week. Right. So, you've got Flacco going against the Jets tonight. and that's one of the toughest defenses in the league. Although
It's a good
Washington,
storyline there.
yeah, Washington did move the ball successfully. I think they're getting to the part of the season where maybe they're just tired. Washington did move the ball fairly effectively against them at the end of that game, came from behind. And then you've got Browning going up against Kansas City. So that's a big one too. And Kansas City's defense has not been playing bad at all. So it's a tough one. Then you're looking at Jarrett Stidham. I in this case, you want to go with probably the proven performers. If you go with Stidham or Taylor, you're probably reaching a little bit. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes you want to go with matchups first, but Browning and Flacco have not really had that bad a game. Even in some fantasy leagues, depending on the PPR status,
Right.
Browning scored really well last week, even though in our league he was 22. So, and look at what Flacco did last week. So yeah, I'm on the Flacco train, even though it is the Jets tonight.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am.
Nah,
I'm
for
with
sure. I'm right there with you. I'm going Flacco and Jake Browning, just off the talent alone. You know what surrounds them. So I'm
Yeah.
going Browning and
Oh,
Flacco.
he also added something here. Forgot about his taxi squad. He also has Will Levis.
Is Levis starting?
Well, I know Tannehill was in there last week. I'd have to look that up and
I got you.
see. So yeah, so Stidham is who's replacing Russ, and he's got a fairly good matchup with the LA Chargers. They're really, really not playing good defense right now. I just don't know if I trust Stidham, especially his first start. He may do well. It's a risk. It's a risk that you're just going to really have to look at.
The Chargers will get to the quarterback though. Like that's
Well,
one thing they will do.
yeah, it is. It's just they're not. I mean, they're giving up a lot of points to quarterbacks this year. I forget what the number actually is, but they're giving up a lot of points.
Okay. Let me see here. Yeah, that was yeah, we're going just to continue to answer that question, I guess. Yeah. Flacco, Browning.
All right.
Anything
Cool.
else?
I'm good with that. All right, we got another question here. Defense for the week. So defense it's really hard to predict because you could have a really good defense going against a bad offense and still lose. I had Chicago. I really thought that they were going to score a lot of points against Arizona last week at home. They've been playing lights out football, and they didn't do a lot. All right, so we got Rams, Eagles, Broncos, Bears, or Raiders. I'm gonna take the Eagles out of that, even though we're Eagles fans. I'm gonna take the Eagles out of that equation. They're playing Kyler Murray. Marquise Brown should be in the lineup this week. They've got a decent running game. Yeah, so it's Eagles still banged up really badly. I don't know if we're getting Avonte Maddox back this week or not. No Darius Slay, no Zach Cunningham, as far as we know. So it's a tough one. Last few weeks though, look at that. 14
12 against the Giants.
12 and 8, 12. Yeah, so I'm looking at projected. So yeah, they have not really been putting any points up on defense.
14
so we've got
is pretty good too, man. That's crazy. I didn't know they were projected
I
that
think
high.
it's just because it's the Cardinals, and the
Yeah.
Cardinals have been so spotty offensively. So let's look at Rams, Broncos, Bears, or Raiders. Broncos are intriguing to me because they are playing the Easton Stick and the Chargers, who have been actually inept. I might lean that way just because the matchup and their defense hasn't been playing poorly. So I kind of like that. What do you think?
I'm trying to find these Rams. I cannot find the Rams. I keep finding the Chargers. Maybe on the next 25. They must be low down.
Are you talking about the Chargers as far as their defense?
Oh, the Rams. The Rams. I was just looking to see what
Rams.
the Rams have done lately.
Oh yeah.
Past 5 weeks, they put up 12 or more, 4 times. 4 out of the past 5 weeks, they just stumbled against Baltimore, which is nothing to sneeze at, man. Baltimore is playing good football right now. They are scoring and playing defense, which is crazy. So the Rams, they play the Giants this week. I would be inclined to start the Rams because we know they have a good offense. They have a good run game with Kyron Williams. We know they can move the ball with their wide receiving core, and they're playing against the Giants. The Rams are high on my list here.
Yeah.
Broncos, I'm with a new quarterback in. I don't like to trust it because the more you turn the ball over or the more 3 and outs you have with a quarterback that hasn't started in a while.
Yeah.
That means your defense is on the field a whole lot. So I don't like the Broncos. The Bears are just too iffy because they're Their offense is too hit or miss. The Raiders, their offense didn't even score a touchdown last week. They just had that pick six, Mahomes, and a lot of running game. I like the Rams here against the Giants.
You know what? I'm inclined to agree with you because even though the Giants they made the move to Tyrod Taylor, we know what he's got, what he hasn't got. A lot of their key receivers have not gotten involved much this year. They have Saquon Barkley, but the Rams have the second or third best run defense in the league. So their one guy that the Giants are going to rely on is the key strength of the Rams defense. So yeah, I think that's probably the best move. If you've got the Rams, you can play them. Go ahead this week. I don't think they're available on our waiver wire, but I'm going to look right after this show. Maybe I can beat you to them.
White Rhinos has them.
Right okay. All right. Maybe you can.
I ain't gonna hold you, man. I was thinking about picking up Kansas City. I was thinking. I think it's a good matchup against Cincinnati, but Cincinnati can still play ball, so I'm not going to touch it. But I don't really know who I'm going to play. Honestly, either Seattle or I got two really not two. I don't know. I don't like my matchup with Miami going up against
right.
I fire up Joe Cool.
As your brother saying that. Yeah, I picked up Jacksonville this week against Carolina. So I mean, I had the Bears. I still have them. I didn't drop them because they're playing at Atlanta. It's not a bad matchup for them. So they're projected for 13.09, and Jacksonville's projected at 13.85. I just like the matchup better. They're at home. Jacksonville is at home, while and the Bears, I think, they're at home too at Atlanta. So Atlanta's been playing some good ball recently, though. I don't know Heineke. That's the thing. That guy can ball out sometimes. So I don't think I'm willing to throw in
Taylor right now. Scored the first touchdown of the season, rushing touchdown of the season against Atlanta last week, and then he didn't do much after that. So Atlanta's given up one rushing touchdown. That's why I wasn't that inclined to even play Taylor last week, and I had Zeke in for him, and then I was like, well, Taylor, he's healthy. He's been out for 3 weeks. His legs are fine. It's just his thumb. I don't know. Anyway, we're here.
Yeah. So like Telly just confirmed, Levis is starting, but I still think, as much as we like some of the matchups, I think your more talented players are Browning and Flacco for this week, even though they got tough matchups defensively. I've done that just from speaking from experience. I did it at the beginning of the playoffs. My dumbass benched Mayfield because he had a tough matchup, and he ended up going off for 50 points. And then I ended up having to start Drew Lock on Monday, and luckily still won in the first round of the playoffs. But it is what it is. All right, we got another question here from Nick Oops. PPR, Bills or Jets defense? More defense questions. I think this is coming down to it. If you guys are in your championship game, you're looking for every little bit of an advantage. Jets tonight against Flacco. That's a tough one. Jets are hard because, again, they still haven't solved any of their offensive problems. They've tried everything, and they're not doing anything. But Buffalo is going to keep teams off the field, and they're playing a rough New England squad that sometimes can play well, but not really, not that well. Their defense plays better than their offense. Right. So I predict the Bills are going to steamroll them, and they'll probably be able to shut New England out fairly well. Yeah. I think tonight would be a risk. I think you're probably better off with the Bills defense.
Yeah. The Jets going up against Cleveland maybe a couple weeks ago, before Flacco has come in and played really well. Yeah, I would go New England, but no, man, I think teams have something to play for right now. Buffalo has a lot to play for. And I know you're more so talking about the defensive side, but the philosophy I've been using this pod in particular is, sometimes the better your offense is and the worse their offense is, which is New England. Their offense isn't really good, but Buffalo's is. So you can expect Buffalo to be on the field most of the game. Yeah. I like Buffalo. I like Buffalo here.
I do too. And it's weird because Buffalo, they're on a roll now. They've been struggling. So that's my only apprehension, is them having one of those flat games where they come out like when they played the Eagles. But I said, we're not really going to take guesses like that. I'd go with the Bills as far as that defense goes. We got our boy King TTV is in today. If you didn't catch the beginning, King TTV, both Tubby and myself are facing each other in our championship game, which is great. It's crazy how that worked out in this for our podcast and everything like that. You think we'd scripted it or something, but that's not what we did. We legit did it. There you go, right there. There we are going into the final. But he has a question. Kang TTV, our boy that has been with us since the beginning, is in the championship as well for 1,400. So glad we could help out with that, and he needs our help even more badly tonight because Keenan, which is out, and Hawkinson are out. So he's got to find somebody to replace those points. It's very hard to replace that. I had Hawkinson too. Luckily, I had Laporta, so I'm okay for the championship. But that doesn't help you out any. So he's thinking, do you think KJ Osborne and Gerald Everett will do? He has also a choice of Dobbs, Juwan Johnson, and DeMario. Oof. I can't say I'm thrilled with any of those there, King TTV. I'm not 100. Nothing sticks out. Maybe the thing with Osborne is now we're dealing with another, switch for that quarterback because they replaced they're taking Mullins out. And so now we've got a whole nother quarterback coming in. They're starting the rookie in Minnesota. So it could work out. It might not. And it's surprising to me that Minnesota is making this change when they still, they're, I don't know, they have mathematics shot, but really they're kind of done.
No, I don't think Minnesota's nothing to be worried about. The thing that hurts, maybe if Justin Jefferson was out, then you might want to go KJ, but I think they have a little confidence starting a rookie because their run game. Todd Chandler has ran well the past couple games, but man, he's boomer bust, as you can see. He's pretty much boomer bust. Here he's only been over 15, or you can even say he's only been over 15 or 17 points twice in the last 8 weeks. I'm sorry, in the last 8 weeks. So he's a boomer bust. He's kind of like Rashid Shaheed, who I picked up, who I'm thinking about starting. He's like either you're going to feel great, like George Pickens last week, or feel pretty bad. Let me go to Everett real quick.
Yeah, and I'm looking at DeMario Douglas right now for New England. He's basically in the same boat. I mean, he had 6 points in week 15, 12 points last week. He had 8 targets, 5 receptions, 74 yards. Not bad. He's probably a safety bet. But he's playing against the Buffalo defense. He's only projected at 9.89 in Yahoo leagues. So that's a risk there as well. So what do you got on Everett? Everett, again, you're dealing with the Chargers defense with Easton Stick leading it. So I'm not excited about any of their receivers right now, although everyone's banged up. Keenan Allen's done. Mike Williams been done since the beginning. You got Quentin Johnston there, but that's about it. So
I brought it down because I couldn't see the bottom there. But let me see here. I mean, Denver is giving up. Look, you can see what he did. What is this week? Week 14, just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he had 8.9 points, 8 targets, but that was with Russ. I mean, I'm sorry. That was with Herbert, I believe. Did Herbert play this game against Denver?
Which one? The one week 14? I don't believe so.
You don't believe so? Okay. So
Herbert's been out a while.
I don't know.
Might have started it. I think that's the game he got hurt.
Okay. Yeah, man, that's a tough call there. You also have Dobbs, Juwan Johnson. I'm gonna look at Dobbs real quick because Dobbs with so many injuries, out there. I like Romeo Dobbs, man. He's streaky every other week or so, but look at last week. With all the injuries to Christian Watson, the kid Wicks, he comes in out of nowhere and still scores a touchdown.
Jaden Reed has been doing well for them as well. So they've got it. Around. I will say this is Minnesota's pass defense not very strong. I mean, you see them right there. They're giving up the 8th most points to wide receivers. So he's projected at 10. That's probably a safe bet. I'm looking at Juwan Johnson right now, a tight end for the Saints, and he's had 11 points in 14 the last 2 weeks. So he's had last week alone, he had 7 targets, 4 receptions, 48 yards, and a touchdown. He's been touchdown dependent the last 2 weeks. He did score a touchdown against the Giants in week 15 as well. So the problem is that they're playing Tampa Bay, which gives up the 5th most points to tight ends. So that's probably not a bad spot. It's just a risk. It's a really big risk to take it. So I do like Dobbs as far as the ones you gave us the choice of, and maybe Everett. What do you think for those? Because he's got to have 2 out of those.
I'm going Dobbs here, and Everett has the best matchup.
Yeah,
It's just I haven't seen enough from that offense with Stick in there rather to really make a good decision, man. So
exactly. So if that's all your options, Kang, I mean Everett, if you really want to roll the dice, Johnson, but again, he's got to be touchdown dependent against Tampa Bay in order to score you any points because he's getting about 2 to 4 catches a game, and that's not what you need in the championship. So hope that helps. But man, that's a rough deal. Hopefully the rest of your players can pick up the slack and you can you win your championship. We wish you the best of luck. All right, we got a question from Matty Bo 99 in his flex since Amari is out, and that's rough, man. He has been like a fantasy MVP this year for a lot of people. He's had a really good last few weeks. Is it worth to try Keenan Allen, who is out though? So Keenan, he's questionable. I think Keenan's shut it down for the year. You could check and see what we've got on him. He's questionable right now. I know he's not practicing. Yeah, he's still not practicing. It seems to me like when Herbert went out, Keenan went out. He just said, "I'm done." He doesn't. I don't even think he's really that hurt. I don't think he wants to play and risk injury with Stick. So Achan is Achan. I don't even see what his status is right now. He did play last week. Elijah Moore is not bad at flex. If you got Achan, I would probably go with him at flex as long as he's playing. Elijah Moore or Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's tonight against the Cleveland defense. Out of those, if Achan is healthy, I'm going to say Achan. So let's see what
am I spelling it wrong? Where? How do you
ACH? ACH? Is that what you got?
Yeah, ACHANE.
Are you looking under all available players or just
Yeah. Oh, I see. Maybe let me go to all. Yeah, it still should. His name normally still pops up. Here we go.
ACHANE. Yep.
Yeah.
It's questionable right now.
May not play due to a toe. He was limited in practice today. A Thursday practice is promising.
Yeah. As long as he's limited and he's not completely sitting out. I'd say as far as flex, I definitely would go with HN if I had him. Excuse me. Now,
more.
He's in our league. HN is projected against Baltimore to score 14 points in Yahoo leagues. And that's pretty, I mean, against one of the tougher defenses out there, I like HN's explosibility.
Elijah Moore is a flyer, man. I feel you with with Cooper being out. So those targets have to go to somebody. And Elijah Moore is formidable, man. It's kind of like because he may have a George Pickens type weekend, one of those. I mean, what's his name? Went off last week.
He'd be taking a risk from the basis if you look at his production the last 3 weeks, has been 3 points a week.
Right.
You know,
so that's
he's only had 2 receptions, 3 receptions, 42 yards. So I don't know if it magically he's going to replace Cooper or not. I mean, he could, like you said, it's got to go somewhere. But against the Jets, I don't think I would take that risk. I like going, if you've got a name and you got him in flex, I like going with HN. But that's mine.
And I like you also mentioned Garrett Wilson well too. Garrett Wilson, 15 targets last week.
Yeah.
I would go with Garrett Wilson. So that would be me. Because Mostert is still there, right? I don't think Mostert is hurt, right?
No, but HN's playing really good. Granted, HN the last couple of weeks has 9-4, but he's had before that he had 25-12. So,
man, Mostert hasn't gotten less than 10 points only twice this season. Jeez. That's a workhorse, right?
Oh, you're saying Garrett because he's got 30 minutes till kickoff. You're saying Garrett Wilson.
I'm saying Garrett Wilson.
Bring up his numbers again. Bring up Garrett. I want to look at that again.
His targets is what I like.
Yeah,
it just gives you the chance,
Yeah, definitely. If you're in a PPR, that's probably a good move because he's getting 9 points right there. He had 15 last week against that was a Washington though. He's going up against one of the toughest pass defenses in the league,
like night and day.
Browns. So, This may lean more toward the Miami game or the Atlanta game for Wilson. I just don't trust their offense for me.
I
That's
feel you.
my thing. I love Wilson as a whole, as a player. I just don't trust it's Trevor Siemian. I or whoever you're going to put out there for the Jets. I don't trust him.
Yeah.
So I say HN, and Tubby says Garrett Wilson. So take
Garrett
that
Wilson.
for what it's
Yeah.
worth. All right, we're going to go on to the next question. We got Generation X, Generation Strange. He's got the choice between Stroud, Stafford, or Fields. Stafford's got a pretty good matchup against the Giants this week, if I'm not mistaken. So you can check out Stroud. He's practiced fully. He's back from his concussion. I tell you what, when Stroud was in there, man, he was putting up some numbers. And I like Stroud a lot.
He didn't play the last Tennessee game. I was trying to see what he did because I knew they're in the same division.
They got to play 15 and 17.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he
there's
didn't
no
play the last
information to help you there.
Yeah, so that's it. So he's projected at 27, 19th fewest passing yards to quarterbacks, but I don't know. They're at home against Tennessee. He's coming back. Nico Collins, no Tank Dell, but man, I do like some Stroud. Now, this is a great matchup, the Stafford matchup, and I'm sure Generation X knows all of this stuff. Playing against the 17th, giving up the 17th fewest points to quarterbacks. He's projected at 28.96, and of course, you know the weapon Stafford has, and they just keep getting better. Even when he's passing out of the backfield to Nacua. Look, he had 328 last week against New Orleans with 2 touches. I mean, he's had multiple touchdown games since week 12. That's amazing. So I like Stafford a lot, especially the matchup is what does it for me. I love Stroud though. Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know if I would go with Fields just because they're at home against Atlanta. Atlanta's playing much, much better defense right now. So, I mean, you got a tough question to answer. I think if somebody put a gun to my head and said, pick one, oh man, I would probably blurt out Stafford only because of the weapons. Only because of the weapons. I think,
man, let me see here. Woo. He gets hot. He is scorching.
Oh yeah, for sure. Then you got to remember he had Tank Dell most of the season too,
out here,
but you still have Nico.
Out here. That Jets game was a little rough too. But even before the concussion, I think just because mine wouldn't be necessarily the weapons, because it just seems like CJ Stroud, he's just putting with anybody. He's even having success with Noah Brown at times. Noah Brown has had a few games that smell like what? But Noah Brown was somewhat productive for the Cowboys last year. But just because he's coming back and Stafford had been playing, I would go Stafford more so. I think Stroud is becoming matchup proof because it seems like their defense is so they always seem to be behind and they always seem to be in the game. So and Stroud just he looks good, man. He looks good for a rookie, man. He's commanding that offense well. But I'm probably going to go Stafford, just because I like that matchup too.
I really like the matchup. The only thing that gives me pause is weather. What's the weather going to be like in New York compared to indoors for Houston? That can always affect ball flight, and so that you got to keep an eye on that. And I think they're both playing around the same time. So
We have the little weather thing. They don't have
no,
it.
they don't have it for that game. So I would check the weather. If you got the Weather Channel app, check that out. Find out you're not getting crappy weather in New York City. And then if you are, then I would definitely go Stroud. So
Yeah.
that's the last factor. I think Stafford, if it's going to be a nice day, 45 degrees, no wind in New York City, I think Stafford will probably have a good game against that defense. Otherwise, go Stroud if it looks like it's going to be crappy out there. All right. A question from Young Star 210. He made the finals, another one. So congratulations. Which defense do I start, Bears or Bills? I'll say that right now. We answered that earlier in the show for another person. I'm Bears are playing Atlanta. Atlanta's kind of no joke. I have the Bears, but I'm putting them on my bench for Jacksonville. Bills are playing a down and out New England team that's really just playing for respect right now. Bills are playing to try to get further on, and he maybe even win their division, because if they went out and they beat Miami, then they could do just that. So I would go with that Bills defense against a really rough a rough New England team. So the other question is, Amari Cooper is out. Do you replace him with Jacoby Myers, Adam Thielen? I mean, we got Tubby bringing up Jacoby Myers stats. I like Jacoby only because lately they have the Raiders are just playing good ball. You see there, he had 32 yards and a touch against the Chargers, against Kansas City. Not so great, 7 points, but he had 5 targets, 3 receptions. It's definitely not going to replace Cooper, but I do like the way the Raiders have been playing lately. So it gives me a little bit of hope for him. Thielen, you had Thielen earlier, so you can speak from experience on having Thielen as an owner.
He man, it's just so that offense in Carolina is just bad, bruh. Like it's just not a good offense. The past couple weeks, even though I haven't been starting him, he has been having some solid weeks. So I guess it really depends on what you need him to do. If you need him to get you 10, it looks like right now he can get you at least 10. Um, but I'm definitely going. Thielen is the safer bet just because of the targets. His targets don't really drop down below 6. 3 one time, and that was against Tennessee. That was just a low scoring game in general. So, guy getting 6 targets a game is a lot, and he's a lot more consistent than Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers is another boom or bust guy.
Yeah.
Either you're gonna look like a genius or an asshole, depending on how you started.
I like Thielen's matchup with Jacksonville.
Mhm.
As being consistent, because you're right. He's the one that if you look at his numbers going down the line, 18 points, but and then 7, but you're
Oh,
looking at probably getting around probably against Jacksonville's defense, probably around 10 points out of Thielen. Jacoby, you could get it. I do like the way they've been playing, but they've got a kind of a tough matchup against Indianapolis this week in Indy. So Raiders have been playing great, but that's a tough question. I think if you want to risk it, Myers, but if you really want like a guaranteed 9 or 10 points, I'd go Thielen.
yep.
Myers could put up 15. I don't see him higher than that. He's definitely not one of those stars that are going to win your championship for you, but you just need right now in the finals, you just need guys to at least get you double digits. And I think Thielen's got a potential, more of a potential to do that against Jacksonville. So,
Mhm.
all right, we got another defense question. Browns, Bears, or Texans D. The thing is we mentioned with the Bears, they're playing Atlanta at home, but it could, I don't know how that's going to go. Browns, they're playing the Jets tonight, and the Jets have a great defense, but again, can't trust that offense. And they do have an outstanding defense of their own. What do you think, Tubby?
Man, it's hard for me to pick against Cleveland because now they have the offensive piece. With Amari being out, then their run game isn't spectacular. Ford does okay, and so does and Hunt he still can get you a couple yards here and there. But sometimes that Jets was shut out by Miami. Now Miami has been, top fantasy, just keeping in fantasy football and one of the top ones. The Bears, I just don't trust the Bears. I just don't like the Texans defense personally. Like when I watch them, they seem like they give up a lot. And I think that's contributed to a lot of Stroud's success and yards from them trying to come back and stay fighting in these games. To me, the Browns here is the best way to go,
I agree.
especially with Trevor Simeon starting.
Yep.
Browns are just nasty, nasty. And you have the matchup, man. Sometimes you just have to take the matchup. And if
Yep.
it doesn't work out, cool. But it's the best information available right now is the Jets give up the second most fantasy points to defense. So they have 2 touchdowns on the year, 9 fumbles, 16 interceptions, 44 sacks. Man, it's a lot of points there. So I'm
I
going
agree.
with Cleveland.
Yeah, I agree. I wholeheartedly. I actually think Cleveland's defense is better than Miami. I'm not a huge fan of Vic Fangio's game. They are sack dependent and turnover dependent, which is great for Miami. That's kind of how the Eagles were last year, and that's kind of how what they remind me of. They remind me kind of Eagles defense last year. Give up a lot of passing yards, but they do get a lot of turnovers and sacks.
I must say I spoke too soon.
Are you talking about Houston's D?
In the matchups that they have had,
Let's see. Yeah.
particularly that they're playing Tennessee, who they just scored 21 against. Hold on, let me back that up. I wanna say my bad. Let me let me back. Wow, they have been putting up some numbers. 15, 21, 15 again. No tutties. No,
I tell you what, if it were me
man,
right now and I was looking at a
man.
completely clean waiver wire with all of these teams on them, I would pick the Browns up first, and that's who I would start in my championship. That's just me. So I get that Houston's had some good numbers lately against some rough teams, but I
And particularly against this team.
yeah.
Unless like who was the quarterback, I guess, in this Tennessee game? Because I know Levis has been
The
hurt,
last one was Tannehill, yeah.
but then I guess the one before that, this is against
Might have
Levis
been
then.
Levis, yeah,
And
yeah.
Levis is starting again
Yeah.
here. Man,
I don't know. Yeah,
man,
Levis has played a little bit better. I don't know, it's just me.
I
So
hear
you
you.
can make your call. I
I
would
hear
like
you.
I said,
I
if
hear
I had
you.
a completely clean waiver wire and I had to pick one out of all these, I would probably
Yeah.
pick the Browns.
I think you're right too, man. And that's because here's the thing about Houston right now, too. Singletary's been running the ball so. He's been running the ball pretty well. That's why it's been so hard for me to bench him. Like I kind of want to play him this week. But anyway, man, Tennessee is a hard sit here. Tennessee has got, I'm sorry, Houston. I mean, look at these numbers, man. 16, 20, 18, 16, 13. But I get your point, though. I get your point with if it was
I
a
get
clean
you.
sheet of paper. But if I also told you this team got 21 on them 2 weeks ago,
That doesn't mean it's gonna happen this week.
but it's still
I like
information.
yeah, I get you. I do. I get you. I agree with
Don't
you.
go Cleveland. I
They
feel
don't have any, touchdowns on the year, so they have scored a lot of points, again, sack-wise, and their opponents haven't been that strong. Yeah, but I'm just not I would probably go Texans second, but out of that 3, but I would go Browns first. Alright, so we got another question here from, Jack 27. Hope our holidays are going well. Very well, thanks. My son came in from out of town, so I had all 3 kids in the house for a
nice.
change on Christmas, which was very nice. He's already gone back to Oklahoma, so that's good for him. I was looking to get advice on defense again. I love it. Eagles, Jets, and Jags.
You
Thanks.
can speak to the Jags starting out because you have them this week
I do.
against your boy. You spoke
And
to the Jets, but
yeah, the Jets going up against the Browns tonight, that's a rough sit, but the Jets have it, and they still have an amazing defense.
right.
That can't be said. I don't know if the Jets were available over Jacksonville if I would take them. But I did pick up Jacksonville off the waiver wire this week, and I'm starting them in my finals. And the main reason is because they're playing Carolina. It's Carolina. I don't know. It's just one of those things where some games they just come out completely flat. And if you look at them, the way they've done this year, the fantasy points that they've given up. The Carolina's given up the 3rd most fantasy points to defensive position. Now, against Green Bay, which was a rough game, they only gave up 4. But then prior to that Green Bay game, they gave up 18 points to Atlanta, 37 points to New Orleans, 18 points to Tampa Bay, 18 points to Tennessee, 26 points to Dallas. You see where I'm going with this as far as
Mhm.
Jacksonville's opportunity. Now, Jacksonville could blow it, but they're playing a team that does give up a ton of points to fantasy defenses. So if I were you, I'm leaning more toward the Jacksonville defense just because of what
Matchup.
of what Carolina does, not
Right.
so much of what Jacksonville has done this year. And it's just because the Carolina is just not a great team.
Right.
They played one really decent game these last few weeks. That was in a downpour. And that's what helped them. The pouring rain helped them win that game. I think if that game is played clean, then Carolina probably doesn't win that one either. So yeah, I mean, I'm not a Carolina hater. I'm just saying, I just see what I see, and they're a bad team, and the numbers don't lie as far as
Right.
the points they've given up. So I'm banking on hoping to get maybe 15 to 20 points out of Jacksonville this week. So we'll see what happens.
Uh, man, out of all the teams, Jaguars do have the best matchup going up against Carolina.
Yeah.
The Eagles can beat up. They very well could just beat up Arizona. They're still very capable of doing that. But
I
and we
will
haven't been able to sack anybody. So how are we gonna get to Kyler Murray this week?
I will say this. I know that the Eagles have struggled the last 2 games, but I think, well, last 4 games for crying out loud, Dallas, San Francisco, Seattle, and New York. But I do like what Patricia's doing because we talked about it before the show offline a little bit. In that Giants game, that wasn't the defense that let them down. It was Zacchaeus running into Boston Scott that causing the fumble, basically gifting them a touchdown. It
Oops.
was the pick six that Goddard fell down on, and the one bomb. Other than that, the Eagles defense gave up 3 points. That was just a one of those weird games. So yes, against Arizona, the Eagles could play extremely well. They could get some guys back. But again, they're playing Kyler Murray, which is very unpredictable. I don't think the Eagles have seen anybody like him other than what we saw with Taylor, and Taylor ran all over him for a while there in the New York game until they went away from it. So that worries me when you got anybody like Kyler Murray coming in with that intangible. Again, I go back to the Jaguars and say, hey, Jets tonight Jets are always good if you're solid, but I think Jaguars have the best matchup. So we've caught up with questions, and we've got about 13 minutes. So if you are in your championship, or even if you're in a consolation game and you want to ask us for some advice, we're glad to help. We are, again, like we mentioned at the start of the show, Hurts When I Pee, which is my team, is going up against Lord Vader, which is Tubby's team, in our league's final, which is just crazy. We hoped that was what was going to happen. We knew when the playoffs started, the only way we were going to meet each other would be in the championship. So that was kind of cool, and it did work out that way. So we've got an exciting matchup. I mean, if you look at our head-to-head, it's pretty challenging. Right now, you're projected to lose, actually, because I actually made some changes. By 1 point, I'm projected to win by little less than a point, really.
Hey, that's how you won the last time we played, less than 1 point. So they're taking actual real-time stats. Nah, man, it should be a doozy.
Crazy.
You know, you have some really good matchups this week. Really, because really the only stud is Porter going up against
that's
Dallas. Everything else is just a favorable matchup, especially Washington. It's just like, because they can't even, Washington's offense is that bad. So
yeah,
Aaron Jones is up or down. Tucker is automatic, and that's a good matchup, man. Jacksonville against Carolina for sure.
I'm happy. I think they're undervaluing Baker again. We'll see. It's 27. I'm watching Baker. If you just click on him real quick, you can see his numbers this year. Just scroll down from at least from week 10. He had 22 in 2017, then in the last few weeks, 31, 50, and 38. So he's getting hot at the right time against Atlanta and Green Bay, considered tougher defenses. So his worst numbers came against San Francisco, which is explainable. He still had 246 yards against San Francisco. He just struggled at Indy, and then he struggled at Carolina. That wasn't a downpour game, but I don't think it was a great game for him.
And a lot of these games show the quarterback play. Went up against a banged up Lawrence last week. Lawrence was banged up coming into it. They didn't even know if he was going to start. Didn't he have a concussion or a shoulder injury or something like that going into it? Because I played against Trevor Lawrence last week, and then Green Bay. I don't know how he scorched Green Bay, but I didn't think he was going to kill Jacksonville like that. But then I go and look at Jacksonville, and they're third.
Yeah.
I didn't know their offense was struggling that much. I didn't know Doug was down there doing it like that.
It does worry me because New Orleans has a really good pass defense. So Baker's going to need all hands on deck. He's going to need a healthy Evans. He's going to need a healthy Godwin. He needs Rashard White to be able to take the heat off of him. And to catch out of the backfield. I think that's what's helped him. So I looked at other options with maybe some better matchups. There's nothing out there that to me is better than Baker for our championship. So I got to roll with it. Of course, you got Patty Mahomes, so you've got an edge there for sure.
I have a chance with Mahomes. I don't know. Mahomes has it. Well, let's look at Mahomes' numbers.
It's been rough the last few weeks. You have a favorable matchup because you're going against Cincinnati. Yeah. But 18 points. I would love to have another 18 burger like Las Vegas.
This is
you
just
put up 30
crazy.
against New England. So,
but that's the floor for Mahomes.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the floor. I mean, these 28s and 25s. You know, he had 29 against the Eagles. A lot of drops there, especially if, this changes if Valdez catches that ball. But that's still a tough catch for Valdez. Like, I'm still dying on that hill. Still a tough catch. It is. Over the shoulder, fully stretched. It's still a tough catch. You didn't hit him in his numbers.
Right.
So you're still depending on his athleticism and talent to catch the ball. It's not necessarily the pass. Like, just hit him in stride, bucko. But anyway, I think sometimes wide receivers get a bad rap for that. It's like that ball was worse than it looked. I'm just that good enough and fast and talented enough to even make it a close play. Is my
Yeah.
point there. But
Yeah, no,
anyway,
yeah.
yeah, man.
I mean, we'll see
But
how
nah,
it goes. Against Cincinnati, Field and Browning, and they're at home. I think that I think they'll have a bounce back game. It kind of sucks that they really struggled last week because that doesn't bode well for me because that was against a division rival. They came away with bad taste in their mouth. You know they're going to be practicing extra hard this week. They're going to find Rashee Rice, which I'd love to be able to snatch off the waiver wire and put in there somewhere. But because I think he'll see some. I think Kelsey will see some action. So I really think our championship's going to come down to that game, how well they play against Cincinnati in my eyes. And it does if McCaffrey puts up 40 points against Washington, like he did in the first round for me, not against Washington, but he put up 40 points. That helped me get out of the first round. I didn't even need a quarterback because McCaffrey threw up 40 plus points. We're getting close to the end. We got about 8 minutes to go before we get out of here. We got one more question from Ricky, which I think he's been on here before. He's got bad news. He had Superflex Fantasy. Nick Mullins gets benched. That was who he was starting, I guess. And so he's asking, in any in any universe, does Jaren Hall make sense starting this week? I don't think so even against Green Bay. There's not enough here. I mean, if that's all you've got, and Justin Jefferson is playing, then you've still got a chance, but you don't have Hawkinson, so he doesn't even have like a safety valve. There's nothing really to study on him.
yeah, it's just, whew.
Yep.
I didn't even watch him in college. Like I just didn't he go to BYU? This kid went to BYU. I think he had Puka as his receiver.
Yeah.
I think Jaren Hall went to. I could be sadly mistaken, but I think he went. I think he went to BYU. Anyway, man, here's the thing. If Hawkinson was in, then I'll say okay because you have Jefferson, Hawkinson. They'll be down. They're going to get reps because it's still fantasy football. It's not will the Minnesota Vikings beat said team, but it's just about the talent there. I can't. Hell no. Nah, man. It has to be somebody out here that you can pick up. Let me help you out here. Let me go to some quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Real quick. Why is it?
I mean, it's definitely a risk reward with Jefferson. Going against Green Bay, division rival, they are at home. There is a slight possibility that he could put up 20 points, 22 in that kind of matchup. I think if he doesn't, if they play game manager, don't turn the ball over. But now this is our league that he's showing you here as far as what we have available. So we've got guys where Russell Wilson's not starting, Jared Stidham is. Herbert's out, but then we got Derek Carr.
Okay. I'm gonna look at just trends, not our league, but just the trends across everybody that's playing on this platform.
Quarterbacks.
Yeah. So let's see the most ads this week. The most added quarterback was Derek Carr, followed by Stidham and your boy Hall here. You still have Gardner Minshew out there. If Pittman looked like he was going to play up until game day.
Yeah.
He even passed the protocol and then he sat. It was weird. I mean, I looked up because I don't think I'm here because of it. But if Pittman is back, you have something there in Minshew. Minshew to Pittman, that's like at least, I mean, he just throws the ball to him. Like it's just where's Pittman? And throws the ball to him. So you have that there. Jacksonville still doesn't have that great of a defense. Carr could go, Bryce Young could go crazy, but he just doesn't have the talent on that team to do it. If Houston is down, if Tennessee is down to Houston a lot because Stroud is back, you could throw Levis in there and see what he does with Hopkins.
He's in like a super flex fantasy, so it's very deep. So they have a lot of players. So he has multiple quarterbacks. So he is trying to look at to fill that spot. So he's got Tyrod Taylor, Mason Rudolph, and Stidham.
I like Stidham's core. So Stidham may bring out the best in Judy, and Cortland Sutton is a solid receiver. But I like Pickens and Deontay Johnson better. So I would probably, but Mason Rudolph is up or down, man. If I had to pick out of this, I would go Mason Rudolph.
I was thinking the same thing. I was just going to look at his matchup this week and see what we
play Seattle.
At Seattle, and that's a tough place to play. He had 290 yards last week and 2 touchdowns against Cincinnati, which is pretty impressive. 30 points, and he was projected to get 21. He's projected at 23 against Seattle. A little bit tougher defense, just a little bit. I kind of like Mason in this one too.
He had 290, but I wanna keep in mind one of them was on an 86-yard play
Oh,
and
that's
a
right. Yeah,
66-yard play. So two of those plays was like what,
yeah,
150?
yeah.
Just just information. So the
Nope, I hear
two
you.
plays, 150 yards, the rest on the other 140 yards. So I don't know. Just something to think about. But I'm going Mason here. I'm going
I
Mason. Seattle stuff, but man, you can put points on Seattle. They're middle of the pack. So, and their offense hasn't been really explosive. Like the best game they offense played was against the Cowboys. So
Yeah.
I'm still going Mason Rudolph here, even though I hope he has the worst of games because I may start Seattle defense. I'm very close to it,
Mm.
very close to it, but I don't know. I just know I can't start Miami. I'll probably regret it, and that's my problem.
And that is a problem with Baltimore, yeah, for sure, because they are hot right now, man.
I feel like they could either crush him. It's Baltimore. If you stop Lamar, you stop Baltimore. Like it's like they'll just be pigeonholed. Like Gus Edwards is only gonna. He's a short line back. So he is the core man. If they, ooh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Miami has done me some wonders this year. I must say. I mean, they have not let me down. They have not scored. They only scored less than 10 points. What, 3 times? Once
I say
against the Chargers, week
I say
one.
do it. I say do as your friend.
I'm not even kidding. Like I feel you. It is an ultra dangerous move to try to do because Baltimore is cooking in there in Baltimore. Oh my God. But mind you, I keep going back to the same principles. Miami's offense also dictates their defense. You still have to be able to run Miami off the field, which a lot of teams can do that, man. They have 52 sacks this year, 4 tutties, and fumble recovery.
Like I said, they're exactly like the Eagles were last year. They're sack and turnover dependent.
Man.
And if they get those things, they play extremely well. Otherwise, they tend to play a soft zone coverage. It's Vic Fangio. They play a soft zone and try to lull quarterbacks into sleep. And so, yeah, so you're taking that risk.
They've only had 2 really tough matchups this year. Buffalo here in week 4 and got cooked.
Yeah, they did.
The Eagles, but with that pick 6, which inflates this number here. It's not an inflation, it happened. Was it a fumble 6 or a pick 6? I think it was a pick 6 or something like that. A little goofy play. I think the line was scored. Anyway, but other than that, Kansas City played another tough quarterback. So when they play elite quarterbacks, they've struggled. They've struggled. Anybody that's been all pro or anything like that, Buffalo with Josh Allen, all pro, KC, Jalen, all pro, and that's it. And then you face Lamar, former MVP, Lamar's having an incredible season. I just laugh at you look at Baltimore is now considered the most like dangerous team in the NFL right now, right?
Right.
And what was the first topic of discussion after like 2 weeks in the league? Is Lamar overpaid or did the Ravens pay too much for Lamar? Is he worth his contract? Week 3, is Lamar worth his contract? And then look, week 17, they're trying to crown him as the MVP. His numbers don't speak MVP. I still think McCaffrey is up there, and I feel it's such a toss-up. But I think if Tyreek Hill gets over 2,000 yards receiving, I think Tyreek deserves it.
Oh yeah, he gets 2,000 for sure. Yeah,
you get 2K receiving.
Yeah.
At least offensive player of the year, something like that.
Well, the thing is MVP without Tyreek, the Dolphins wouldn't be where they are right now. He when he goes out, you can see the entire Dolphin offense just starts to slump their shoulders. Now they may not have Waddle in this game against Baltimore. It looks like he's going to be out, so that could affect your decision. Or ignore I said that.
Man, I'm just gonna. I don't even know. It's just because Pittsburgh's offense has played terrible at times this year. So I'm just going to roll with it, man. I like to try to rationale, like, well, even if you do make the wrong decision, how many points you think they're apart? Probably 5 at the most. So
yeah,
whatever, man.
If you're worried about, I know everybody asked a lot of questions about defense because every point counts, but really The things you really got to be looking at are my best players. You know, what are they doing? And then you're just rounding things out with that defensive stuff in your kicker. And that's just how the way we draft too. We worry about that last. We got to worry about the skill players first. But anyway, we have hit over the 8 o'clock hour, so the Monday night or Thursday night football is getting ready to start.
Yeah,
my beer is almost empty, so that's another.
Man, look at these picks and look at the top 5 picks real quick before we go.
Yeah,
or just like all the top guys and where they are now. Really, only McCaffrey and Hill were worth the picks in the end from a draft. As far because Justin Jefferson missed way too much time, plus the Kirk Cousins injury.
Yep,
Eckler's been a complete disappointment. Jamar Chase has been in and out, plus without his quarterback, forget about it. So McCaffrey and Hill, man, stay strong.
McCaffrey was my number 1 pick. Picked him number 2 overall, and without him, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Mel, when I talked to Mel the other day, Mel was like, "Man, I should have picked McCaffrey. I cannot believe I didn't pick McCaffrey. Everything told me to pick Justin Jefferson, but I picked McCaffrey."
Dude, you don't know how during that draft, you don't know how excited I was when he did not pick McCaffrey.
Well, McCaffrey with the injuries, people get hesitant because of the injuries. I picked McCaffrey personally first. I may have played 4 games with him that whole year when he was in Carolina. It was like he was, you know how it would be. He would have the most incredible season, or he would get hurt and you would never see him. It was like no in between. So with him not having to carry such a heavy load in San Francisco,
that's the thing.
That's what's keeping him a lot fresher.
Yep, he's not an every down back, but what he's so dynamic. There's not too many that can do the receiving out of the backfield and make plays out of nothing. So it's a tough one.
Well.
I'm looking.
Hey, man, this is good, man. Hey, I've already made some solid cash in our league back. That's one thing I was looking at too. I was like, okay, I won 3. I won 3 3 weeks plus this. I said, I'm doing that. But I definitely want that the belt, which is going to be called the Herb. It's going to be the Herb. Yeah, man. I figured might as well. I mean, it's only right.
It is.
So
right.
Got to get all the plates put on and stuff like that. And yeah, I'll have to fly it out to you, and hopefully it'll stay right here. So hey, we'll let Herb choose who wins this one. That's messed up. That's messed up. Shout out to RIP Herb. But we're gonna call it that.
Yeah, that's great.
We'll go over that story another time. But yeah, man, you got anything before we get out of here?
Well, I'd say good luck, but I wouldn't mean it. I do wish for a great championship final between us two. I think it's going to be a blast. I know we'll be texting back and forth all weekend because this is hilarious that we're in the final. So yeah, good luck, but I don't mean it.
I will tell you, I don't even watch my team most of the time.
Yeah.
So if I don't say anything, it's not because I'm salty, it's because I don't really check it until most of the time, like before Monday Night Football. So just FYI.
Yeah, I check about Sunday night when I'm getting ready to go to bed.
So like this game tonight, probably won't even watch it. Kick back. It's too stressful with Njoku playing because it means so much, man. That Thursday is a big start.
It is.
And I don't really care about the game too much.
Yeah.
So I just because it really sucks, man. Fantasy football. I don't want to go on a tangent, but can really ruin. We're gonna run that back. Fantasy football can ruin how you watch football, man. It could change your entire Sunday. Let's keep it real. Like, especially if you have a lot on the line. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, like I said, man, same here, man. Hopefully it's a good matchup.
Yeah.
Last one was less than 1 point. Crazy. So, hey, man, with that said, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back probably go Tuesday to close out the show, close out the year. Don't need to go past
Happy New Year to everyone out there. Happy 2024 before we see you all next week.
Like, comment, subscribe. And appreciate everybody came and asked us a defensive night, man. We are gone, man.